Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. So we're going to go over the Wednesday walkthrough practice for the Philadelphia Eagles, go through the injuries, go through the Eagles-Cowboy matchup, a few things that were said at the press conferences the other day. So definitely want to go over all that great news and some updates on a new cornerback for the Philadelphia Eagles that will play next year. So very excited for that. Let's get into it.
We better do. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So I want to go over some news from the Philadelphia Eagles. A few things to definitely go over here regarding, well, first, we'll give our respect where respect is due with Jaylen Herz getting NFC Offensive Player of the Week and having the best game of his career not career, but this year so far, which was fantastic. And we heard from Jaylen Hurts today as well with the press conference from the other day, and kind of talks about AJ Brown, the connection that those guys have, being his best friends, but obviously having that professional relationship, and talking about just winning in general, that just getting the win is all that matters at the end of the day. The mindset between him and A.J. Brown, and just A.J. Brown as a player, obviously the 6 consecutive games at 125 plus yards, breaking Calvin Johnson's yardage record, which will be a record that won't break anytime soon. And we'll see if the Eagles can continue this with A.J. Brown come this Sunday versus the Cowboys, which would be really cool. And another thing too, like, these beat writers need to be ashamed, because Jaylen Hurts has told you guys last week that he doesn't want to talk about this damn knee injury, okay? Because it's like the focal point of every, these beat writers just can't help themselves sometimes. Literally, the last question that Hurts had was about this knee injury, and he just laughed and he walked right out. I mean, it was just the final straw at this point. Like, he told you guys not to talk about it, and I understand it. Like, I don't, like, because this knee injury is going to be the main focal point. So if Hurts has a bad throw or something happens during a game, they're going to ask him, is it because of the knee? They're going to put too much focus on that. And like I said, the Eagles have a bye week. I'm going to say this a million times during this video. The Eagles are going to have a bye week, after this game come Sunday. So, Hurts will be a lot more healthy coming off of the bye week, no doubt, which we still have some tough games to play, and very excited about it. So, we'll see what happens. Now, Nick Sirianni had some things to say. He talked about, obviously, Micah Parsons, and we need to take into account that a lot, at least a couple of the teams that, or at least where teams have had success, okay, is against Micah Parsons running to his side. So I'm really, with getting Cam Jurgens back, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But running to his side has always been, what teams really have attacked Micah Parsons on that specific side, really take him out of the play. And really teams have done a good job in doing that. And I expect the Eagles to run with DeAndre Swift a lot during this Cowboys game come Sunday at the Link. And he talked about the Dallas Cowboys as, you got to think of them more like your loved ones, think about them. You know what I mean? Like, it's that important that they're putting a lot of emphasis, and hopefully watching a lot of tape. And, the Eagles, I think really defensively get pressure on Dak. And the secondary was a big concern after last week. I mean, I don't know why Washington has our number, even though we kind of ended the Washington Commanders after sweeping them, and now they traded both their edge rushers during the last day of the trade deadline was a day or two ago. So so now with the Dallas Cowboys, let's try to get 3-0 in the division. Try to get pressure on Dak. Eliminate the short throws of these guys getting, wide receivers and tight ends getting, open real quick. And we have to get this. We got to get pressure. We have to get things going and moving. Because it could be a long day, and then that's just more pressure on our offense. I really have no issue with the offense going into this game against the Cowboys at all, because there's just way too much that defense has to stop. We're going to find out what Deron Bland is all about, of how much of a great corner he is. We're going to see, and I can obviously see the matchup is Devontae Smith and Bland, then A.J. Brown. Gilmore will be on A.J. Brown, and we're going to find out, how much these matchups are going to favor us or favor more of the Dallas Cowboys, but the run game is the number one thing I kind of want to get going in this game badly. Offensive line is a lot more healthy, which I'll get into in a second. Nick Sirianni still defending Kenneth Gainwell. And like I said, for every single week, for the past 8 weeks, I've been saying this. Whenever a press conference happens, Nick Sirianni is not going to throw his players under the bus. I better see more DeAndre Swift in this damn game this Sunday, because I'm telling you right now, if I see Kenneth Gainwell in the red zone on crucial moments or a 3rd and long or something stupid like that, is going to be another problem. And then I'm going to think, you know what? At this point, I have to think that they're playing favorites. So it's like, oh, I didn't bench him. I could have benched him. Like, he gave this stupid excuse a week ago. Like, if A.J. Brown fumbled the ball last year a couple times, I didn't sit him out of the game. Jaylen Herz threw a pick. I didn't sit him out of the game. Like, the difference is these guys have skill. Like, these guys have actual skill. Okay, I talk about Kenneth Gainwell every week to the point where I'm just like, I know you guys are probably tired of it as well as I am, but I have noticed every single week that there are more fans coming on my side of this whole Kenny Gainwell situation, that he's not the best back, that he's not even the number 2 back or good enough to be the number 2 back, and Boston Scott should have more reps. Boston Scott is more valuable with his size, with really his small size and his big lower body and what he could do with that sneaky speed that he has in the red zone over Kenneth Gainwell, okay? A lot of guys benefit from this offensive line, and Kenneth Gainwell had a good year last year. Then in the playoffs, he played really well, okay? Miles Sanders is not even a starting running back for the Panthers. He was literally benched for Hubbard, and he was only averaging 3.1 a carry, and the guy can't stay healthy, okay? Guys benefit from this offensive line, there's no doubt. And Gainwell is not going to do much of anything on another roster. He won't even be a rotational guy on another roster, okay? Kenneth Gainwell will be another Josh Adams, another Wendell Smallwood, another average running back behind this line that is not going to have anything. This is a dream for running backs to run behind this line right now. Okay. So I really hope this isn't really, if they play the Cowboys and they do the same thing, I'm waiting for Rashad Penny to get snaps. From what Diana Rossini said during when the Eagles were going after Kevin Byard, she said that the Eagles are literally trying right now to keep Kenny for a postseason run. So are they going to start him after this bye week? Because I don't know if he's even going to play the Cowboys game on Sunday. I'm kind of waiting for that moment to where they're going to start unleashing a fresh pair of legs, which is the positive point about it, because Rashad Penny is going to have fresh legs for, than a lot of the guys on. He'll be the healthiest guy on this roster that hasn't been banged up, and it could take a lot of snaps. So when are they going to play him? Is it more of like midway part of the season after the bye they start to put him in games, or are they strictly going to wait till the playoffs to start him? They gotta play him a little earlier than that. I mean, I already don't even like this plan at all. Seriously, don't even like the plan, because I'm not asking for Rashad Penny to get like 15, 20 snaps a game. I'm just saying, like, couple snaps in the red zone each drive, I'm fine with it. Tired defenses out with that, and you can really, then the pass rush won't be as bad, and you can, mesh out and balance out with the pass. And having a bruiser back can tire out defenses, do a lot of good things for your passing game too. So, and we can't even talk crap about Rashad Penny or say anything bad about him, because he hasn't done much of anything this year. I can't put a ranking on him of what I think he could do or what he's done so far, because it just hasn't been enough. So they got to do a lot more, and I hope I see less Kenny Gainwell and see more DeAndre Swift against this Dallas defense, which I think they could run on them, no doubt. I'm waiting for that DeAndre Swift big run, or at least a run to, a touchdown to the house, this season. So, Nick putting confidence in his players is a great thing, but behind the scenes, is he actually thinking that this kid still has somewhat some skill to really carry this running back core as a number 2 running back? He's not a 2-punch for DeAndre Swift. It's just not the case right now. But let me move on before I talk about this for another 20 minutes, because I'm definitely not going to do that at this point. Now, the injury report going into, obviously, Wednesday, it was just a walkthrough, so definitely a few things to talk about here, okay? Now, Grant Calcaterra with the concussion did not practice. Now, interesting enough, with what we're dealing with right now, Bradley Roby is going to be out another week. He was week to week with the shoulder. Now, after the bye week, he will definitely be back, no doubt. So the problem with this secondary right now, besides the play calling and what we don't like with the bend don't break defense, it's hard to solidify your secondary because you're constantly switching players left and right, substitutions, guys getting injured, new guys coming in, changing positions, roles being changed. So the communication could die down because you can't sustain like the same guys in the secondary every week because of this injury list. Roby definitely was settled down the second half of that Rams game, and I think has been a pretty good player for us so far, but the shoulder really screwed a lot of things up, but it has given more guys opportunity, which they will be using Eli Ricks for more man-to-man coverage. They'll be using Sidney Brown on nickel packages. So that was some news from Jeff Kerr this morning, that they will use Eli Ricks for man-to-man, Sidney Brown more nickel packages, and I think they'll be using guys in certain situations depending on what the Cowboys are doing this Sunday with CeeDee Lamb and how they're moving him around. So it's going to be interesting. I'm glad they're cross-training Sidney Brown, no doubt. And obviously Eli Ricks is getting chance after chance, and he's flashing. He's doing a fantastic job. So I really have nothing to complain about. But you go from a Miami game with this secondary, which they they defended a good track star offense pretty well, and then just dive down nose first off a cliff, and to another, you won against Washington, to a Washington Commanders game, on the road, and totally just shit the bed at that point. I mean, I don't know. I can go into it a million times with the secondary and how they're using guys when they're playing press or not getting hands on. Bradbury and Slay are not solidifying, or not, at least they're not doing great because of the off coverage in general. But when you're not getting hands on and press and you're just mirroring from close up, you might as well sit 10 yards back at this point. What is the point of these guys getting paid if they at least, I'm only asking for a push. I'm not asking for hands-on when they're off the line for 10, 15 yards. I'm just asking for a quick push, kind of disrupt that route a little bit from the receiver or tight end. Makes it easier for safety help. Makes it easier for you on your coverage when you're covering these guys. For them to have 5 to 7 yards quick, and these quarterbacks are looking good right now because we're playing off ball and their statistics are going through the roof because, I mean, can you win a Super Bowl with this defense, with this secondary playing it like it is? I feel like they need to blitz a little bit more too. I think that, and the tackling has been a little awful at times. So, like I said, the bye week is so important. So Roby will, he didn't practice on a walkthrough, so I'm expecting he's probably not going to practice at all going forward. Now, Cam Jurgens coming back this week is huge. Shout out to Suo Pet, has been taking over at right guard. Hasn't been perfect, but he's been pretty damn good. Okay, he's been, I think, a little bit more than above average playing right guard. And Tyler Steen taking over last game during Washington when Suo had to go out of the game. I thought he played really good. So you get Cam Jurgens back, and now you could do so much more with your offensive line because Jurgens has been very good, even pulling on those pull plays and really kicking guys out, kicking defensive ends out, and doing some great things there. So to have him back in the lineup, because obviously, Cam Jurgens is more athletic than Suo Peta, let's be real here. And it's his first game back, so he's had a light practice, which was obviously walkthrough, and we'll see what goes the rest of the week. But it looks like he will actually play, which is great. And on top of everything else, even both the Cowboys games last year, Lane Johnson, I think, was partly out for both those games. He wasn't out the whole game, but I think for 2 games, he wasn't even partly in those games at all. So to have Lane Johnson at full health, full time, is a huge deal for this offensive line going into this week when you're going to be facing Lawrence on the edge. And Micah Parsons is going to be snooping around the line of scrimmage on wherever he's going to line up. I think with Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson on the outside at tackle, I think are going to do a really good job, and protection should be great. We know that, Jaylen Herz is not as mobile right now, has been more of a pocket guy, and just keeping him as healthy as possible. So I think that's really important, getting him back. Jaylen Carter is a full go. And we desperately need him badly this week. I mean, this is the week. This is Jaylen Carter's first game against the Cowboys, and I want him to be disruptive because the one thing about, as the highest graded defensive tackle that he is right now, even missing a game or two or missing time in general, to be honest with you, like we were very nervous about the MRI, but his back is fine. He's doing perfectly fine. Looks like he is going to play this week. And the benefit of Jaylen Carter, it's not even about the sack numbers. His pressures are, he's got over 23, 24 pressures for the year, or at least that's pretty amazing. But when it comes to, and the less amount of snaps than some of the highest defensive tackles in the league, like Aaron Donald, some of these other guys, some of the top 10 defensive tackles have higher snap counts, way higher snap counts than Jaylen Carter. And Jaylen Carter is doing more with less snaps. If he's not getting sacks, he's getting pressures, but as disruptive as he is, it frees up these linebackers through the gap. It's helping the guy next to him on each side of him, which other guys are making plays because he's being disruptive, and he's getting his hands on the quarterback, and he's getting those hits and pressures. And we know what Jaylen Carter could do. We know what he could do. And at 100% health, he's going to be a monster, and this will be his first game. Like I said, it depends on the secondary if we could generate a pass rush, and that's what I'm hoping this week to stop Dak Prescott, because if he doesn't, if we can't get some pressure here, it's going to be a long day, and hopefully it doesn't turn out like that. So getting him back is definitely a big win for us. Really going through more news. The last thing I want to really go over, I went Isaiah Rodgers, the new corner for the Philadelphia Eagles, that will not play until next year because he is on the exemption list for the NFL because of the gambling situation. Isaiah Rodgers put up some pictures of himself training his ass off. And I got to say, the Colts fans are crying for this guy to come back. I haven't watched too much of this guy at all. I mean, I'm not a big PFF guy, but he was ranked pretty high. I mean, a 23, 24-year-old cornerback. God knows, with Avonte Maddox could potentially leave next year. With more, this cornerback room is filled with guys, and they have to start cross-training a lot of guys. Sidney Brown is a nice start for that. But getting Isaiah Rodgers in the building to see what he could do, I mean, potentially you're losing 2 cornerbacks in 3 years. Slay's last year of his deal is next year. Bradbury's only got 2 more years left on his deal throughout the 25 season. So there's a lot of opportunity here for this guy to come in next year and do some good things. And I'm pretty pumped about it. I hope you guys are. He's just letting the fans know that he's working his tail off and doing his thing. That's all that matters. He can't talk to the team. He can't talk to anybody for the front office. All he did was hear about he got traded or that he was going to sign with the Eagles, and that was it. He can't talk to the team. He can't talk to the players. He can't be around the player. He can't be around the facility. He can't do nothing. And then the second step to this whole thing is he's got to get off the exemption list, which he'll get off of it. I'm not worried about it. As long as he doesn't get any stupid trouble off field or anything like that, he'll be perfectly fine. So very excited for Isaiah Rodgers, the future of him and what he's going to do for this team, of how the cornerback room will kind of shape up. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. So went through some of the injuries, went through some of the quotes from Jaylen Herz, Nick Sirianni, the running back position. I mean, there's so much to talk about, and we talk about this every day. So let me know what you guys think about the Eagles-Cowboys matchup. What do you think of this matchup in general? And just, what do you think of just the matchup with Cam Jurgens coming back to this offensive line? What is your MVP of your offense and your defense? And, can't forget about Kevin Byard either, because he's due to make a play sooner or later. He only played 1 game with the Eagles so far, so hopefully more stability, and obviously his assignments will get better, and, with his second game with the Eagles, and hopefully make some noise, which is great. So, we have a weakness turned to a big strength with Kevin Byard being there at safety. So, other than that, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.